So welcome to Creativity in the Paranormal. This is our Halloween edition, and we are welcoming back paranormal author Kitty Shields. Hi,
Hi
Kitty.
guys.
And Kitty and I have dressed up for the event, of course. So, Kitty, tell us about your costume.
Sure. So this is my pirate costume. This is like a handmade hat that I got on Etsy from a really talented hat maker. It's got a little skull and crossbones there. Obviously, it's got
Oh,
the
so nice.
chandelier effect and the big feather. You can't have a captain's hat without a big feather.
Yes.
Um, I have my steampunk bodice on, and actually, I have this is handmade armor that I bought
Wow.
at one of the
Wow.
Comic Cons that I went to recently.
Great.
And I have my sword here just in case things get a little out of hand. I'm ready.
Yeah.
So
Well, we will try to keep it civil here on the show.
excellent.
And I am just a Halloween loving witch.
There
That's
you
what
go.
I.
Yeah.
And so Wednesday is my birthday, so I've already gotten
Happy
some gifts.
birthday.
Well, thank you. I'm gonna share. I got a new Haunted Mansion mug that I'm
Nice.
using today for my water. So.
Nice. I didn't
Yeah.
bring mugs. I brought books. So I got so I'm a bookbinder in my because I'm a nerd. So I
Yeah,
have
me
my
too.
pirate book here, and then I have my zombie book behind me.
Oh,
So
nice.
I brought the books.
I'm sure there's a book about pirate zombies somewhere.
Probably. It actually sounds like a lot of fun too. I would
Yeah,
probably like to make that.
absolutely. So I have to share a little more again because it's the birthday week. So
Yeah.
I got this gift as well. Isn't this
Fun.
by an artisan? And it has a LED light or whatever at the top. So this is, I call him the wise old candle man.
There's actually these candles you can get on Etsy that are like just like a spinal cord
Oh,
and they
oh
melt.
my
And I like
gosh.
really want one. It looks really cool.
Yeah, that'd be perfect for Halloween. And I was putting out light decor this year because I have people coming at Christmas, so that's going to be the big blasting. Oh, how
Okay.
kitty kitty!
I've added a black cat to my decorations, totally on
That's
purpose.
great. What's the name? What's the name?
Jinx, so completely
Jinx.
appropriate.
Oh, perfect timing. We have a cameo by Jinx, and the
Yes.
last thing I'll do is I forgot I had this. In honor of the movie Barbie, I have a Halloween Barbie from God knows when. I do not know when I got it or
So
where I,
fun though.
but I put her out each year, and I went back for some extra decorations recently, and I forgot that I'm gonna lay her down. That I hadn't put her out. So there we go. So anyway, let me start with we're so happy to welcome you back, and I'm going to recap with your bio. So
Sure.
about Kitty Shields. Kitty Shields lives outside Philadelphia, where she writes to overcome the fact that she was born a middle child, me too, with hobbit feet, freckles, and a tendency to daydream. In her spare time, she binds books, takes terrible photos, and tries to avoid the death traps her cat sets for her. Jinx, nasty Jinx. She earned an MFA in creative writing from Arcadia University in 2015 and has been published in several journals, including the After Happy Hour Review, Furious Gazelle, and Cyclet. You can find her at Kitty Shields on Instagram or at www.kittyshields.com. Okay.
So actually the website has been updated. It's kittyshieldauthor.com.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that update.
Thank
So
you.
everybody check that out. And the book we're going to talk about today, or the blurb we're going to share, this came out last August of
Yeah.
2023.
So yeah, a month and a half ago.
Okay, right before the borderline of the spooky season, fall
Yes.
spooky season. So sorry, I'm very fidgety with my cape here. Anyway, the title of your new book is Stone Heart.
Yes.
Some love stories are written in stone. Wait, let me make sure I've got all the words here. I don't want to be cut off. Okay, there we are. What if the woman you loved gave her heart to you in the form of a perfect red diamond? And what if you were an absolute imbecile and broke that heart into pieces? Edward, the Marquis of Winchester, doesn't believe in nonsense, and he certainly doesn't believe that the woman he cast aside 6 months ago was true to him. But when the death of a famous actress leads him to realize he's made a grave mistake, Edward sets out across 1790s Europe to save his love, battling jewel thieves, demons, and old family foes along the way. The question remains, can he put the pieces back together and heal a stone heart? All right. I love that. So, I want to I think this is going to be a new question I'm going to throw out because, that's the luxury of having you come back to visit again. What inspired you to write this particular book, Stoneheart?
So this book has been sort of fermenting in the background for a long time. I actually had the initial idea way back in grad school, like 2013, so a solid decade at this point. And I really, it just took a long time for the pieces to come together and for it to be sort of a coherent story.
Yeah.
But I had this idea of this, the opening scene of this guy that's like regretting something terrible he's done. He's getting on a ship and he's physically weighed down by this regret, whatever it is. And so I had that scene in my head for a long time. I was trying to come up. I went through a bunch of different sort of supernatural ideas, trying to sort of make things work. And I was researching myths when I came across the Norse myth of Hrungnir. I'm probably saying that wrong.
What's that?
Hrungnir?
What is it?
Okay, so Hrungnir was this stone giant who fought the Norse gods. He actually was defeated by Thor. So everybody knows.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, thanks to Marvel.
Yeah.
But Hrungnir could literally take out his heart before a battle so that nobody could kill him because they couldn't pierce his heart.
That's smart.
Yeah.
That's smart.
So I thought that was a really interesting idea. And I was like, okay, well, what if we have a descendant of this giant? What if they could manifest their heart and what does that look like? And how does that play out? And so really the idea of this guy who turned into Edward being physically weighed down by the weight of the heart that he broke, which is now this diamond, right? So that's sort of where it started. And I did a lot of research. Obviously, it's a historical novel. So I did a lot of research into folklore and myths and some of the things that he sort of comes up against in the book. So the demon he comes across, he at one point goes into a cemetery at midnight because it has to be at midnight.
It has to be at night.
Has to be at midnight. And he fights a revenant. And a revenant actually is this sort of it's like an undead. It's not really a zombie, but it's this folklore creature that appears in a bunch of different cultures. The word revenant, that one is Old French, but actually the Norse have a version of it called the Again Walker. And so this idea of this demon or this sort of undead person that comes back, and I sort of I was tying in a bunch of different folklores and myths and sort of creepy supernatural. So Edward goes into the cemetery to get this magic flower that's supposed to help him on his quest, to help him save the stone heart and his love or whatever.
Yeah.
I based that on the flower that he gets on the mandrake root, which is actually a real plant, actually really poisonous.
And we heard about that in Harry Potter, the mandrake.
Exactly. So the mandrake in Harry Potter, it's been in Pan's Labyrinth that was featured in there. It's a sort of, and it pops up a lot also in myth. One of the big not characters, but people that he comes across a couple times are the Roma. So commonly referred to as gypsies, but sort of a derogatory term. But the Roma he comes across in real life, the Roma believe that the mandrake root is a love amulet. So they will pick it and weave it into a love amulet. So he sent on this sort of errand by the Roma, it sort of made sense, you know, to like sort of weave all these different supernatural beliefs in there.
Yeah.
And of course, he has to fight the demon, which haunts graveyards at night.
Of course.
So, yeah, so
Wow.
a couple different things. The Roma give him another flower in the story, which is based on another mythical plant called a fern flower. So ferns in real life don't flower, like they don't produce flowers. But they're in mythology, the fern flower is this mythical plant actually that heals.
Okay.
Yeah, so you know, I really try to sort of do my research and go in there with some weird fun things. Some of the characters that you meet, a lot of them are based on real people. And at the time in the 1790s, being sort of, so, you know, you're talking about the Regency age, just sort of, you know, right past Victorian. And so you're talking about a lot of seances were popular.
Oh, yeah.
Eating mummies, like
they did spiritualism.
Right. Some weird stuff. A lot of occultism.
Yeah.
And so there were professional wizards. Like there were these people that, you know, said that they were a wizard. So I came across a couple.
I'm a wizard.
I'm like, yeah, right. You're a wizard, Harry.
Yeah.
So one of them is the Count Alessandro Cagliostro. And this guy was this Italian adventurer, and he was a self-styled magician. And he became really glamorous at the courts of Europe. And he claimed that he could do psychic healing and alchemy and scrying. Like he had this huge reputation. And when I was looking for sort of a historical wizard character, he was the first one I came across, and he's like this weird dude that appears in history, you know. But eventually he was actually locked into the Bastille for 9 months.
Wow. Yeah. He upset somebody.
Yeah, right. In real history, he was actually captured and tried by the Spanish Inquisition. Now, he did not die. They didn't kill him.
Oh, okay.
But they imprisoned him for life. In my story, during the time where he technically would be imprisoned by the Spanish Inquisition, he is sort of charming the British nobility. So he is this sort of like laissez-faire character that's got them all under his spell.
Mesmerized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other wizard that I came across was by far the coolest character I've ever researched and based somebody on this. So this guy, he's called the Comte de Saint Germain, and he claimed to be 500 years old. He had a variety of names and titles. Nobody knows where he really came from. Like they think that he was a Portuguese Jew, but they're not sure.
Yeah.
And he had like 6 or 7 different titles, and he would deflect anytime anybody asked him, like, who are you really? Where do you come from? Okay. He eventually was called the greatest philosopher who ever lived, and he was also known as the Wonder Man.
Wow.
Yeah, so this guy had everybody under his spell. Like he was really good at what he did. And I was just so charmed by this, you know, character in history.
Yeah.
I sort of cast him in the book, and in my story, he is running for his life from one of the princes in like Denmark because he's stolen the prince's mistress.
So, okay, well, that's not good.
You know, so, but he is in my book anyway, he is a real magician. So he's actually does know how to cast magic, and he knows how to do supernatural arts. So he sort of becomes this expert that they go and find. So
that is amazing. I love how you pull all these different things together. I mean, I'm a nerd too, and I love doing research for my stuff, you know, and whatever I'm doing as well. But it sounds really exciting. It really does.
It was
So
really fun,
yeah.
and I included in the at the end of the book there is a reference section, so you know anything sort of historical that was real, the
Oh,
places and the people, you know, you can sort of look up and see who they actually were and why they were sort of picked or you know
yeah.
reframed in the story. Um,
That's
but
really great. Yeah.
yeah, so I have started on the second and the third in this. It's the story is continuing.
Yeah, I noticed it's book one, so it'll be a
Yes.
trilogy. Yeah,
And they're
that's
all going to
great.
have these sort of supernatural and paranormal sort of elements mixed in. So in the
Yeah,
second book, it'll change main characters because there is like a love element to it. But in the
right.
second book, the it's going to be Tilton, who's the best friend in Stoneheart. He gets his own book, and he's going
Oh,
to
okay.
yeah, he's going to travel to Philadelphia, so colonial Philadelphia, right?
Oh, you can research that really easily.
It's been so much
Yeah,
fun researching, and actually,
yeah.
so Philadelphia is a very haunted city. If you ever come
I've
here,
heard that. I've heard.
super haunted. We have a lot of ghosts.
Yeah.
One of the actually most popular ghosts in multiple points in the city is Ben Franklin. Uh,
Oh, okay.
Seen like again all over the city in different sites associated with him, and some not supposedly.
Yeah.
So Ben Franklin's ghost will make an appearance in the second book because
Oh,
I had to.
nice, nice.
um,
That's
and
great.
yeah, I'm sort of weaving. It's nice because I'll be able to weave a little bit of Native American folklore in.
Yeah,
Or,
they were here first.
right.
They were here first.
And at this point in history, like they were negotiating with Washington. You know, they were sort of
Oh,
trying to avoid war. Um, so that's sort of like you know different elements that I'm trying to find out more about.
great.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and the third book, you know, I already sort of know the character that I'm gonna go with, and that'll be more about sort of Celtic mythology,
Oh, uh-huh.
like
Yeah.
Irish. So, you know, we were talking about the Morgan earlier. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, more to do with like fairies and the She and the Tuatha De Danann. So,
Oh,
uh,
great.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm having a
That's
lot of fun
fun.
with the series.
And each one will be its own standalone. Each one has its unique qualities, but they're all tied together. That's a trilogy.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, I just have to comment that when you said Ben Franklin's ghost, and then you mentioned George Washington real quickly. I've just started a new book, and I'm only mentioning this because it goes with what you said. Where there's going to be a little cameo from the ghost of George Washington, and it's
Nice.
very important, and it goes right into the
Yeah.
well because of the area it's in is where he had been frequented, and he's trying to help out these people trying to solve a mystery, blah blah. But anyway, but he only comes in once. You know, he's not going to be throughout the whole thing. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, there's George again.
There is again popping
But
up.
yeah, so that it's just so fun to play with historical characters and you know the paranormal, leading me back to so yeah, I mean Stoneheart sounds wonderful. I want to read the other ones too. They sound fabulous. So what I always ask what inspired you to write in the paranormal genre, but what I want to say this time is, can you remember that first time that like I know it might be difficult. The very first time you had that spark interest in the paranormal, like was there something that occurred, or did you, you know, how did that go?
So I grew up on the sort of the outskirts of Philadelphia, and we were in this very sort of large house that back in the day would have could be considered sort of borderline mansion. It was an enormous house. It was like three
Wow,
levels. It
that's
actually
yeah.
it was five levels because it had a basement and a sub basement.
There's Jinx again.
Yeah, right. Just wandering around.
You're being upstaged, Kitty, by your
Yeah.
kitty.
Um, but it was this really you know sort of I don't want to say creepy old house, but it
Yeah.
had character. So it had a laundry chute that spanned all
Oh.
three floors. It had a
Oh.
servant's back staircase. It had a wine cellar that was collapsed and no longer accessible.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it had a fish pond in the back. It was like a little stone, not big, but like this tiny man-made fish
Yeah,
pond.
yeah.
And the fish pond was sort of tucked sort of back in the undergrowth behind these Japanese maple trees. So like Japanese maples that weren't
Wow.
super old, so they formed this dome of leaves that sort of hid this pond.
What
Um,
used to be a pond.
yeah, it used to be a fish pond. We didn't have any fish in it when we lived there, but
Yeah.
and there were times when you're walking the grounds and you're sort of as a child wandering and you could swear that you're being watched. And
Oh,
like I
yeah.
never saw anything, but certainly my siblings claim to have seen like the ghost of the former owner who passed away in the house at
Oh,
the
okay.
at the fish pond. um and it was like you couldn't believe it walking through that undergrowth and coming upon this again the stone sort of corner where this like you know
Yeah.
it was creepy and it was weird, and it felt magical. And so yeah, like I
Yeah.
remember as a child anyway exploring sort of the garden and whatever, but seeing
Yes.
this fish pond and this back and like it's a hiding place and thinking, yeah, I could see a dead person hanging out back.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
yeah. So, and it catches your imagination. You sort of, you start to make the stories up at that point. So,
So that got you thinking and imagining.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Wow. Well, I'm gonna slightly tilt this again. This next one, I always say, what's your favorite paranormal movie or TV show now or growing up? But it being the spooky season, we're in October, and we're
Yeah.
actually some of these I had to film at the end of summer or in the summer because people get so busy, this and that. But we had already arranged this in October, so we're actually in October this time. This was all up like in August anyway.
Yeah.
But so this time of year, what do you like to see? Like any Halloween movie or TV shows that you are your favorite?
I've actually been like revisiting a lot of like old favorites that I haven't seen in a while. So, what is it? Lost Boys, like the '80s classic
Oh yeah,
vampire flick. So good. It's so good.
yeah, one of my
Obviously,
favorites.
yeah, right. I rewatched Nightmare Before Christmas because you sort of have to. Uh,
Yeah, it's a rite of passage in October.
right. Yeah. Hocus Pocus is on the slate. What did I see this week I haven't seen in years? I saw American Werewolf in Paris, which was terrible. I'd forgotten how
In Paris, is that the sequel?
it was like a '90s flick that was sort of made, in the sort
Because
of
there's American Werewolf in London.
yes, that was made. Sorry, in the
I love
'70s.
it. I love it.
But American Werewolf in Paris was made in the '90s, and it is a
Oh,
'90s film. It is pretty.
oh, okay. Maybe I'll have to
um,
hit the bottle one night and watch that just for a
yes,
joke.
little glass of wine, you'll be good. But really, like I love the
Yeah.
Underworld series. Like that is
Yes.
sorry.
No, that's okay. I love it.
um,
I'm so mad that the underworld never found Michael again. I guess you found out in the next one that he had died or something, and the father of her half-breed child, or the child that has all the abilities now, because it was
and
Mike
Michael
and
was an interesting character. Like he had
I know
the cool
Scott
black
Speedman, right?
skin.
Played him.
Yes.
And I'm
Um,
like, what did they do with Michael? You don't just let that go. We love Michael. We love
yeah,
Lady, what's her name? And we love the kid that they made, and you just left us.
yeah. But also,
Anyway,
what is it? The actor Michael Sheen, who played like Lucian, this is so good.
in the Twilight series, yeah, yeah.
But no, he was in Twilight as a vampire. He was in
Oh,
Underworld as a werewolf. So he's
yes,
been on both sides of that war.
he was a lichen. Oh yeah, Michael Sheen. Yes, he was excellent. Yeah,
Oh, it's so good.
exactly. Yeah.
Um,
But so those are great. Yeah, I've been watching Freeform 31 Nights of Halloween. They have Hocus Pocus on all the time and everything. I have a lot of commercials, but when I'm like cleaning the house, or if I'm doing like on this thing, doing my blog or editing or something, I have it always going on in the background because it's tradition.
yeah.
So and Now, I've asked you this before, but maybe you have another story or someone that you know that either saw a ghost or had an strange experience that you
Yeah,
want to
actually,
share
I
too.
was talking to my uncle recently, and I am sort of scheduled to go down to Fort Mifflin, so that's right south of Philadelphia. And you can do haunted tours there, and there is a lot of paranormal activity, sort of famous for it.
Okay.
We actually, Pennsylvania, sort of better or worse, has a bunch of sites. So you have Penhurst Asylum
Mhm.
nearby, which is a truly creepy place.
And
Uh,
every TV ghost show has been there
yeah, I
investigating.
mean, and very sad. Like the history is very sad, but
Yeah.
it honestly just in the daylight is a very creepy place. You have Eastern State Penitentiary, which is also a very creepy place, even in the daylight.
Yeah. Heard of
Uh,
that one too.
yeah, and then Fort Mifflin. So we were talking about it, and he said that he had done a tour, 4 or 5 years ago, and he said, I got into this one room, and the guide is talking, and he's talking. It's like the slave, one of the slave quarters, and
Oh.
he like raised his hand, and he said, was there like a woman here who like sort of took care of the kids? And the guide's like, yeah, actually. And he's like, yeah, she had a son. It was her son, but she took care of other kids too. And the guy's
I'm
like,
sorry, this is your uncle saying this, right?
yes, this is my uncle saying this. And the guy's like, yeah. And my uncle's like,
Well,
yeah, I don't think she left. And like,
what?
I don't think she left.
Oh,
Yeah. And
yeah.
supposedly he freaked out the guide because he just had this feeling. Um,
Did he see anything? Or he got the feeling?
he got that, he got the sort of feeling from her, I
We
guess.
call that a download in the spiritual community. It's like I got a download. Like all of a sudden you know information you don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, he freaked out. The friend that he was with, and also the guy. So
He's like, I thought we were just going on a tour. What is all this?
I didn't sign up for this.
Oh God, that's really cool though. That's
Yeah.
really cool. So she decided to connect with them.
Yeah.
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 Well, that is so great. So I'm gonna just throw this out one more time, but now this is the question. Any advice to aspiring writers? It'll be our last one today. But I wanted to put a twist on it. So what advice would you have after telling me how you did, were inspired and did research for Stoneheart and the new trilogy, in particular? What advice would you have for paranormal category writers who are trying to put a story together or starting out a manuscript?
Yeah. Definitely like let things inspire you, but don't be afraid to change it. You know what I mean? Like inspiration is sort of
Yeah.
your grounding and your foundation, but at the end of the day, it is your story. So if you need to change the mandrake root into a love flower, for whatever
Mm,
reason, then
yeah.
that's sort of what artistic license is. And I think that that's totally acceptable. I also think if you can go to these places, like we're talking about Fort Mifflin or whatever, especially for a paranormal, even if it's not the place you're writing about, if you can get to a place which has that sort of charged energy and has that sort of feeling to it, like the fish pond,
Uh-huh.
that will improve your writing. Like I swear to
Yeah.
God, it will like seep in a good way and come out through the words. So
Oh, that is excellent. That's great advice. Yeah, I have when I can go to places, well, the book I told you I'm starting is in Rhinebeck, New York, just like an hour north of me. And so that inspired me because that's kind of a magical place too. And the Beekman Arms is there, the oldest inn in America, where George Washington frequented, Alexander Hamilton,
yes.
and Aaron Burr. Remember, excuse me, the musical Hamilton on Broadway. He and Aaron Burr had the duel, and Alexander Hamilton died. Pardon me.
Aaron Burr was like shot 3 times or something.
Yeah, yeah. And a duel, I was told by someone a duel is like you're not really supposed to kill the guy or something. Anyway, but I don't know. I wasn't there in those times, or maybe I was. No, but I believe in reincarnation. But anyway, it is said that the tavern, the bar in that tavern,
Mhm.
that there were witnesses that supposedly documented, that they heard Aaron Burr and Alexander Hamilton having a heated argument in
Wow.
the Beekman Arms, and then of course later they had the duel. So it's a
Wow.
very interesting, and of course they say it's haunted place. So yeah, I
Nice.
went there for my inspiration for the new book, and places you can't go. Of course, I go deep on the internet, and if you go to Flickr, Flickr, right?
Yeah.
People take pictures on their vacations, and when I couldn't get to
Ah,
Ireland, I was looking for things in Ireland, and they take really good close-ups and everything. That's a
yeah.
good source too.
Tumblr too, to some extent.
Oh, right.
Not as
Yeah.
not as like Flickr's like more. It's sort of closer to Instagram, so it's more like what people are taking. But
Yes.
you will find some things on Tumblr. But that's a great idea.
Exactly.
Uh,
Yeah. Anything I could get to see like the good
sure.
photos, always helps.
Yeah.
I was going to I just wanted to tell you a little thing at the end here. So excuse me. My Since I'm near New York City, my coworkers and I got tickets to go to Terror Vision. It's a haunted house they've erected in Times Square. It's supposed to be really good, this and that. So I got sick that morning. We were supposed to go on a weeknight, so I couldn't go, and I was really sad and everything. So, but I'm going to go to Lake George, New York, which is like 2 hours north of me, upstate New York. And so I'm real excited about that. And I was just researching some of the museums they have around there and stuff. Well, lo and behold, it only opened last year. There is a wax museum up there, and it's called House of Frankenstein's Wax Museum. And it's
Wow.
like $13. I'm gonna go through, and there's some spooky things that happen to, like animatronics and stuff. So I will still be able to go through a haunted house wax museum thing.
Nice.
All is not lost.
There's a great near me. There's a great Audubon Society actually, and they have this beautiful piece of land that has nature trails or whatever. So they're doing a haunted trail. It is
Oh,
family friendly, so not super scary, which is great for me because I'm not good with like jump scares or whatever.
yeah, yeah.
But I'm really excited, so we're gonna do that next
Oh,
week.
that's great. A
Yeah,
haunted trail. I've never done that. I'll have to look into that. It's great.
yeah, super fun.
Well, Kitty Shields, thank you for coming
Thank
on
you.
Creativity and the Paranormal.
Yeah,
And I just want to
having
say to
me.
everyone, enjoy the spooky season and happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Okay, thanks everybody.